Welcome. So, that's something a bit different. You know, we're used to welcoming a packed hall of parents and family and friends. Unfortunately, for obvious reasons, we can't do that this year, but this is something special. This is a unique experience for us all. It's a unique experience for me right now, standing up here talking to lights and cameras, but we're delighted to be able to, okay, we can't welcome you into the hall, but delighted that you can join us live. The video after the performance will also be available to watch again, so people who miss it, but you're here live with us right now. So it's a live performance for the world, not just for a hall. Thousands, millions maybe could be watching, you never know. Okay, so best of luck, guys. You've been amazing in rehearsal, just do what you do, and I'm ready to pass over for What's the Crime, Mr. Wolf, and Year 6.
Welcome to Fabletown, a classic fairy tale village in the middle of the forest. Ooh, lovely. But don't forget the snow-capped mountains in the background. A place where legends come alive. Ooh, and can we get some quaint thatched cottages here? And characters from the past live and breathe in the present. What do you think? A pump and water trough? Yes, a pump and water trough. A world where animals can talk. Unfortunately, possibly a marketplace. And carved bench under the shade of an apple tree. Opposite a sweet shop, windows filled with glass jars, filled with strawberry creams and lemon drops. All disbelief is suspended. That's true. Tesco do a pizza meal deal for £6. Pizza meal deal for £6. Come on, guys.
Move along there now. No loitering.
A pizza meal deal for £6. That's great, because I forgot my nose bag. Can I get you anything? I just have some hungry coleslaw and some cold quackers. Thanks. Hold your horses, it's not lunchtime yet. We have the protest march due first. Okay. I'll trot off later then.
Those herbivores, all they can think about is their lunch. Shouldn't we be the hungry ones?
We'll soon ruin their appetites.
Hey, you namby-pamby herbivores, have a bit of meat on your pizza.
Bare-faced cheek.
Yeah, there's a new flavour just come out, Doppel Orange.
Settle down there now,
No shouting or growling.
Guys, we're ready to film.
What's the time, Mr. Wolf?
What's the time, Mr. Wolf?
Time we knew the how to.
Time we knew the how to.
When do we want that time, Mr. Wolf?
What do we want the time,
When do we want time we knew the how to?
What do we want?
When do we want them?
Good morning. This is Wilderness News with Sparrow Hawkins and Bramble Thickets. We are outside the Fabletown courtrooms as the long-awaited case against Mr. Wolf is about to start.
Tensions are running high. Here as protesters for both the prosecution and defence make their voices heard.
Indeed, Mr. Wolf arrived early at the courthouse and for his safety had to have a police escort.
Actually, it was a ranger. It was an escort.
Huh? Oh, it doesn't matter. In a specifically extended programme, we will be bringing the news live from inside the courtrooms.
This case has attracted lots of attention, and the public gallery is packed. Not only because there are strong opinions in each side, because the famous judge, Lord Feathers of Eiderdown, will be overseeing this case.
Yes, despite his name, Lord Feathers is no lightweight, and certainly not a softie. He has a reputation for being very stern. I understand he's entering the courtroom, and the case against Mr. Wolf is about to begin.
and gentlemen of the jury, you have today been given the power to determine the fate of this wolf. You should listen carefully and make well-informed decisions. This is a responsibility you must not take lightly. And remember, as Spider-Man once famously said, with great power comes great responsibility. Use it well.
The Forest Court is now in session to hear the case against Mr. Wolf. Mr. Wolf, please sit down. Mr. Wolf, you are here today to answer the following charges. Number 1, you are accused of plotting to deceive a Miss Red Riding Hood. Number 2, assuming a false identity as Miss Hood's grandma.
Poor old lady!
Number 3, willful damage and illegal entry into the properties of the Three Little Pigs.
Disgraceful!
And most horrible of all, you sought to terrorise and murder at will within our forest community.
Send him down!
Shall I tweet that? Hashtag send him down.
Feather brains, it's no time to joke.
Haha, it's no time to yoke.
If you're quite finished.
Sorry.
Mr. Wolf, how do you plead?
Not guilty.
Mr. Wolf, who will be representing you in this matter?
I shall be conducting my own defence with the assistance of my co-counsel, Mrs. Wolf.
So be it. And the counsel for the prosecution?
Your Honour, my name is Man, Hugh Man. My assistant is just in case.
Yeah, and we've got this case in the bag.
Thank you. Please proceed with the case for the prosecution.
Members of the jury, you see before you the most despicable of killers, a clever creature of the most predatory of natures, who intimidates and kills without scruple. It has been very difficult to actually catch this rogue until today. At last we have sufficient evidence to prove to you that this beast, this animal, this wolf, is a serial killer.
Thank you, Mr. Man. And what is the nature of this evidence?
My lord, for many months we've had Mr. Wolf under close surveillance. We've had a forest secret agent on the job, a mole, an English mole, Mr. Johnny Mole.
A secret agent!
Calling Mr. Mole.
Calling Mr. Mole, secret agent.
Calling Mr. Mole what?
Calling Mr. Mole. Well, he's not very secret now.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, according to the forest law?
I do.
Mr. Mole, could you tell the court about the evidence you collected?
Well, I've been doing some digging around and I've unearthed a lot of information. It's what we moles do. I've travelled the world whilst in disguise, alive underground, the life of spies.
Secretly tunneling, snooping and signalling, networking, code breaking, clue making, messaging, mole. Call it mole.
I listen and watch, quite undeterred, in danger not shaken, never stirred.
Clandestine meetings at checkpoints with passwords and dangerous assignments with coded commanders. He's mole. Call it mole.
In the mountains and traitors to spy on, agents and outposts that I must rely on.
Wolves in the mountains and traitors to spy on, agents and outposts that he must rely on. Scrutinization, security briefings, uncovering blueprints
I might be.
Well, what an exciting life you lead as an undercover agent. You haven't, however, told us the nature of your evidence. For all your networking, code-breaking, clue-making, and messaging, did you actually find anything out?
I am bound by the Official Secrets Act. I report only to M.
This is ridiculous. I believe you have no evidence at all. How can a creature well known for its bad eyesight be a reliable witness? Those shades are not a disguise. You're as blind as a bat, which is making a mountain out of a molehill.
Objection, Your Honour! Mr. Wolf is being molest. Sustained. Mr. Wolf, kindly refrain from making jokes at Mr. Mole's expense.
Mr. Mole, perhaps you might like to report the evidence from your clandestine meetings to me in front of the whole court, as I did in fact employ Mole, and am, of course, M for man.
I might have known.
Well, I've installed secret cameras throughout the forest to record evidence against Mr. Wolf. Ah, here they are, the bugs! Last Tuesday, a wolf who fits the description of the accused was seen to be given a gingerbread man ride across the river. And we all know what happened to that poor old gingerbread man.
Yeah, Foxy!
What?
And these informers tell me that even the local bears are having problems with their breakfast.
Oh, really?
Oh yes! They keep having their morning porridge stolen. 3 bowls a day. They're convinced it's some little golden-haired girl. But they're wrong, of course. The culprit has got to be a large, hairy creature with a ravenous appetite.
Your Honour, may I reply to these accusations?
You may.
Well, firstly, the so-called wolf taking the gingerbread man across the river was actually a fox. Everyone knows that story. And secondly, I don't like porridge. I would, however, like to know more about these so-called agents that Mole used to collect this so-called evidence.
I agree. Agents, please introduce yourselves.
The name's Bond. Premium Bond. The name's Bond. Basildon Bond. I have the CCTV recordings of all the evidence.
Attention! This recording is self-destruct. 10, 9, 8.
What? I don't want it!
6, 5.
To you, Mole, you're the one who A little shaken and stirred, Mr. Mole.
Please note that no animals were harmed in the production of this scene.
Well, Mr. Man, it seems your evidence went up in smoke.
Yes, blood.
I hope your next witness is more convincing and less dangerous.
Yes, blood. I wish to call forth Red Riding Hood.
Calling Red Riding Hood.
Calling Red Riding Hood. You, with the hoodie, come over here. I've got the new iPhone 12.
Just kidding.
Very funny. I thought this was going to be so boring, but look at all these people. It's going to be like X Factor.
Miss Hood?
Hey, let's get Saviour judge. He's supposed to be famous.
Miss Hood, please remember that you're in the court of law. Have some respect, please.
Whatever.
Remove that phone from Miss Hood.
And the headphones. That wouldn't have happened on the X Factor.
Miss Hood, please tell the court what happened on the day you travelled through the wood to visit your grandma.
Are you ready for this? My mother said I never should stray from the footpath in the wood. And for a time I was very good. At Granny's house, it wasn't good. She didn't look like Granny should. Her nose was huge and her ears had grown, and she had built some muscle tone. She said, "How very nice to see you, dear." I knew her voice was insincere. The situation was by now quite clear. I said, "Granny, I'm getting out of here. Basket and present, make sure that you're good. Don't talk to strangers, particularly wolves. Don't listen to lies, it's not very wise. Just keep to the path, go straight through the woods. Basket and present, make sure that you're good. Don't talk to strangers, particularly wolves. Don't listen to lies, it's not very wise. Just keep to the path, go straight through the woods. Laters, I'll WhatsApp when I get my phone back.
So, Miss Hood, you like your phone?
Yes, don't go anywhere without it. Need to stay in touch with the girls.
Miss Hood, why did you wander off the path if you had so far to go?
I've told the court why, because you led me off the path to pick some flowers.
Ah, but Miss Hood, we both know that is not true.
It is true. Why else would I leave the path?
Miss Hood, were you texting on your way to your grandma's?
Yes, why not? It was a long walk.
I put it to you, Miss Hood, that you didn't wander off the path because you were lured by me, but because you were too preoccupied with your phone. You were just a naughty little girl who tells lies.
Oh, am I?
Miss Hood, I would like to turn your attention to Grandma's cottage. Bring on Exhibit A.
Exhibit A.
Miss Hood, could you examine this garment? Take your time, you must be sure.
Yeah, it's my grandma's nightie.
Are you quite sure?
Of course I'm sure. Do you think I'm stupid?
Then could you explain to me how I could possibly have fitted into it?
Objection, Your Honour. Mr. Wolf is tricking Miss Hood. He has deliberately shrunk that garment.
Overruled, Mr. Case. This nightie is from Marks and Spencer's. No chance of shrinking.
Miss Hood, there's no use continuing with this fairy story. You have a good imagination, I'll give you that. But there was no one at Grandma's cottage when you got there, was there?
Miss Hood, please answer the question.
Can't remember it.
Then I'll ask again. Was there anyone at Grandma's cottage when you got there?
No, she just disappeared because he'd eaten her.
Silence in court!
Your Honour, I think we can shed some light on the matter.
Continue, Mr. Case.
I have just been informed that we have finally found Miss Hood's poor, defenceless, traumatised granny, and she is well enough to speak to us in the court.
Very well, ask her to take the stand.
Calling Grandma.
I think you have to shut louder than that.
Perhaps I should go and help her into the courtroom.
I don't think so. Here she comes.
Oh, is there some mistake? I called for Granny Hood.
That's me.
Right. Miss Hood tells us you're expecting a visit from her last Wednesday.
I was.
I believe you were very sick in bed, alone in the forest, waiting for your granddaughter to bring you a basket of food.
Well, not exactly. My granddaughter was in fact returning something she had borrowed from me.
Indeed. What would that be?
My iPhone.
Oh. Miss Hood told us you were not at home when she arrived at your cottage. Had you been driven from your sick bed by a ravenous wolf howling at your door?
Thankfully, no. I was not in bed because I was quite well. I had gone out to take a karate masterclass, which I do every Wednesday afternoon, because I'm a martial arts coach. My granddaughter didn't turn up, so I had to leave.
Does Miss Hood know about your job?
Of course she does. She's just trying to keep my phone as long as possible. She had broken hers, and I foolishly said she could borrow my old one for a little while, but I need it back now. The little madam has had it over 2 months. I'm having real problem getting it back from her.
No further questions.
Thank you, Granny Hood. You are excused.
Oh, is that my phone? At last!
Your Honour, I would now like to call my final witnesses.
Go ahead, Mr. Man.
Calling the 3 little pigs.
Calling the 3 fickle kids.
Calling the 3 tickle wigs.
Calling the 3 pickled figs.
Mr. Man, is this in respect of the 3 counts of willful damage and illegal entry into the properties of the 3 little pigs?
Yes, my lord.
Mr. Man, how many pigs did you say?
Oh yes, it's 3 little pigs and their families. Little pigs, could you tell us what Mr. Wolf said to you and how frightening he was?
House is just a haystack, this little house a bunch of sticks. But this one's more substantial, made of good red London bricks. But if you think they'll save your bacon, you are very much mistaken. Gonna blow, blow, blow your little house down. My lungs are quite an asset, I've never known them to fail. From a gentle breeze to a hurricane, and off the woeful scale. So get ready for eviction and prepare for demolition. Gonna blow, blow, blow your little house down. Little pig, let me in. I'll talk and compromise. And leave 3 houses standing for a trio of poor pies. Little pig, let me in. And here's the reason why. The only way you'll escape your fate is if 3 piggies fly. This little house is just a haystack, this little house a bunch of sticks. But this one's more substantial, made of good red London bricks. But if you think they'll save your bacon, you are very much mistaken. Gonna blow, blow, blow. Gonna blow, blow, blow. Gonna blow, blow, blow your little house down. Yeah.
What a very interesting song. Gentlemen, are you quite sure that this is what Mr. Wolf said to you?
Yes.
A trio of pork pies indeed.
You can say what you like. We're out to save our bacon.
Yes, my family can't sleep at night. Every time the wind blows, they think it's the wolf.
I'm surprised your house of straw ever stayed up on a windy day. Are you sure it was a wolf who blew your house down?
Oh yes, we saw him. We saw Miss Wolf huff and puff.
Yes, yes, we've all done that. The jury will be getting quite bored. Let us instead consider the houses in question. I'm sure what the jury would really like to know is: 1. Did you have foundations? 2. Had your houses passed building regulations? And most importantly, 3. Did you have planning permission? What was that? Not a squeak or a squeal. So, you told the court how worried you were about your family, but you have exposed them to great risk by living in dangerous properties.
Nonsense. Our homes were quite safe.
Excuse me, didn't you just say that Mr. Wolf blew your house down? Is that a safe house? So, little pigs, you have obviously all met Mr. Wolf before because you have accused him of blowing your house down.
No.
Only in nightmares.
All wolves look the same to me.
How strange. A moment moment ago you were sure you knew him. I think you might be telling a few porcupines.
How rude.
Objection, Your Honour.
I know.
Sustained.
So, you don't remember your meeting with the Forest Planning Authority about the proposed erection of 3 dwellings within a greenbelt glade?
No.
May I interject here?
Please do. The pigs seem to be changing their story and we're getting nowhere.
Mr. Wolf, do you deny that you destroyed the dwellings of the 3 little pigs?
I do not deny it.
He doesn't deny it.
He doesn't deny it.
I just said that.
I can't believe he admitted it.
I would kept quiet. They couldn't prove anything.
Silence in court.
He does not deny it.
Indeed, he does not deny it, for he was working under the instructions of the Forest Planning Authority to remove 3 illegal dwellings from a greenbelt glade. Please observe Exhibit B.
Exhibit B.
The pigs did not have planning permission for that house, and their half and pub story is just a devious plot to discredit Mr. Wolf's reputation.
Outrageous! Anyone could have forged Exhibit B. I demand to see some evidence.
That can be arranged. I would like to call the Forest Planning Inspector.
Call in Inspector Green.
Not the Forest Planning Inspector.
Yikes!
She got in trouble last week for burying the nuts in Fabletown Park.
If you don't mind, yes, thank you. The inspector is here.
Morning, Squirrel.
Got new glasses?
Inspector Green, can you explain to the court how Mr. Wolf came to be working for the Forest Planning Authority?
Yes. Mr. Wolf patrols the remote areas of the forest and mountains. He works as our scout and reports any problems he finds.
I see. And how did he come to destroy the dwellings of the 3 little pigs?
We discovered the pigs had built their houses without permission in an area of outstanding natural beauty. We ordered the demolition of the houses and Mr. Wolf arranged them.
Inspector Green, could you maybe tell the court how Mr. Wolf huffed and puffed and blew the houses down, frightening the pigs and their families in the most intimidating way?
Actually, it was the pigs who caused trouble. They refused to send their piglets away before the demolition, and we had to call the forest police as the situation became nasty.
Thank you, Inspector Green. You have been very helpful. I think we need to call the forest police for further information.
Calling. Oh, I think they're on their way.
Honest, Sarge, the tree just jumped out at me.
Gentlemen, please state your names for the record.
Sergeant Chung, Constable Twiddles, Forest Police.
Thank you. And which division?
Special Branch.
And your dog?
He is my highly trained sniffer dog. Ooh. He can beg, roll over, and give a paw. He's obedient to my every command.
Really? What's his name?
Bark.
No, ask what your dog's name was.
Bark.
Constable Twig, please stop showing off. We can see your dog is very obedient, but what's his name?
Bark. His name is Bark. What else would you call a police dog working for Special Branch? Sit, Bark.
Sergeant Trunk, can you explain to the court what you saw when you arrived at the scene of the disturbance?
Well, the area was a right mess. You could say it was a pigsty. The pigs refused to talk to Mr. Wolf and were lobbing things at him.
Well, I suppose this was a perfectly natural reaction to being threatened by a wolf. Oh no, sir. Mr. Wolf was keeping well out of the way, as he'd been hit in the face several times with buckets of pig swells.
Yes, and he didn't half whiff.
So, how were the houses eventually removed?
Well, it was a funny thing, really. The weather wasn't good that day, and it was really windy, and the straw house really did blow down.
Oh, really?
Yes, really. And the house of sticks
was riddled with woodworm, and we eventually persuaded the pigs to talk, and when we opened the door, it disintegrated.
Oh, this is also very convenient, and I suppose the House of Bricks just so happened to be demolished by a squadron of masonry bees.
Now that would be silly.
Well, surprise me.
But we bulldozed it.
Thank you, officers. I think we have the explanations we need. Mr. Mann, if that is the end of the evidence for the prosecution, would you please make your closing statement before we recess for lunch? It seems some of us are feeling hungry.
Yes, my lord. Members of the jury, you have all seen for yourselves examples of this wolf's cleverness and cunning. Oh, you may say he has skillfully defended himself against all the stories and accusations, but I say, don't you think he's a bit too clever? Does he do nothing wrong? I don't think so. Many creatures are still afraid of him because he is a carnivore, a predator, and a threat to us all!
Yeah, nothing like a bit of honey. You tried marmalade sandwiches?
Yeah, they're horrible. I don't know what Paddington season them. I got the pizza meal dough with extra pony nuts, wheat coleslaw, and corn crackers. Thanks. What are you wearing? But they had a promotion for a new type of cheese on pizza. So instead of mozzarella, I had mascarpone. Get it? Mascarpone.
Oh. Gingerbread man, everyone.
Ooh, don't mind if I do.
Well, so far, Mr. Mann's evidence seems from a witness. John Moore's evidence went up in smoke, and charges volunteer relating to Grandma and Red Riding Hood were nonsense.
That Red Riding Hood? What is she like?
Bramble, I shouldn't need to remind you that the Wilderness News had a reputation for honest, unbiased reporting.
But I was being honest. That's what I thought about her. Anyway, you called the prosecutor witness.
I was just trying to pick upon the word witness. Anyway, the first 3 charges against Mr. Wolf have been thrown out. There is now only the 4th charge to answer. I quote, "You have sought to terrorise and murder at will within our forest community." That's going to be a hard one to defend.
Yes, I wonder what the jury will think. Hard to say, they are a funny looking lot.
Well, let's hope none of them listen to our broadcast on their phones.
Get off, you stupid dog! That's my microphone, not a cat!
Leave it, Bart.
Woof, woof, woof.
So that's your hiding place, sniffer dog, is it? Hard to tell an animal from a microphone.
He's a bit excitable. What would the triangle of the people over there having lunch?
Picnics, much better than police.
Kneel back!
Madam, please don't beat him. Sir, I'd rather you didn't. He's a highly trained sniff dog from Special Blood on a Capricorn for paleo diet. I apologise for that interruption. With live broadcasting, anything can happen.
Yes, that bloody microphone seems to be on YouTube by tonight.
I understand the recess is over, and Mrs. Wolf is about to begin his defence. We will go straight back to the courtrooms.
and session.
Mr. Wolf, please begin your defence.
Your Honour, I would like to respond to the accusation that I am a carnivore and a predator.
Go ahead.
I'm a carnivore and a predator because I am a wolf. I'm part of a natural process like everyone else here. We're all part of a food chain, and it just happens that I'm top of the food chain. The prosecution don't seem to like this, and they're getting their briefs in a bit of a tangle. They need to chill out and lighten up a bit. Top of the food chain, Mr. Personality. Top of the food chain is the place I wanna be. Down in the forest I am eco-VIP. 'Cause I eat everyone and no one eats me.
Top of the food chain, I've got authority. When I turn up, well, the other creatures flee. No use complaining, Mother Nature, she chose me. 'Cause I eat everyone and no one eats me. I don't accept your adulation for you to be like me. This song is for your education to see how I have come to be. Top of the food chain, Mr. Personality. Top of the food chain is the place I wanna be. Down in the forest I am eco-VIP. 'Cause I eat everyone and no one eats me.
Take it away, guys.
Now plants, they are producers. They start our little seeds. We need these guys to photosynthesize and make our forest green. Now once the whole thing started, the insects munch on leaves. Then the birds start looking to see what's cooking at the restaurant in the trees. Consumers, they're eaters. But do you know who's who? There's carnivores and herbivores. It depends on who you choose. And us, I'm not forgetting predator and prey. The difference is one chases, the other runs away.
Top of the food chain, Mr. Personality. Top of the food chain is the place I wanna be. Down in the forest I am eco-VIP. 'Cause I eat everyone and no one eats me.
Top of the food chain, I've got authority. When I turn up, well, the other creatures flee. No use complaining, Mother Nature, she chose me. 'Cause I eat everyone and he eats everyone and I eat everyone and no one eats me.
Mr. Wolf, thank you. You may be down with the bugs, but you have just made our case very easy. You have actually just admitted that you eat everyone and you're proud of it.
Mr. Case, you've obviously not been listening. You've missed the point. Nature has given me permission. I'm acting on the highest authority. Do you not understand how food chain works?
As I said, convicted by your own song. Mr. Case rests his case.
It seems that the prosecution is incapable of understanding evidence from the animals. My lad, perhaps they'd listen to their own kind. Humans. Your Honour, I would like to call the naturalist.
Calling the naturalist.
Calling the naturalist.
Calling the naturalist.
Calling the naturalist.
I don't believe it. We got it right. We got it right. Hype with no mistake. Hate. Woohoo!
Good afternoon, naturalist. Before we get your expert opinions, please give the court an account of your qualifications and experience.
We're naturally the naturalists, zoologists and activists, ecologists and botanists from Kew. We study insectology, electoral ornithology. fascinating subject, don't you know? We're naturally the naturalists, zoologists and activists, ecologists and botanists from Kew. We study insectology, a little ornithology, and clever 'cause we know a thing or two. We've waded through the Amazon and wallowed in the swamps, and found some hidden species in Peru. In Africa it was quite clear we had to visit Tanzania and follow the migration of canoe.
So I'm making no apologies for studying the ologies. It's a job that someone has to do.
Thank you, gentlemen. There's no doubt about your scientific learning and experience. Proceed, Mrs. Wolfe.
Gentlemen, perhaps you could tell us why the wolf is endangered?
Yes, indeed. Canis lupus.
Canis lupus, could you please explain for the benefit of the jury?
Canis lupus, the grey wolf, of which, madame, might I say, you're a particularly fine specimen.
Excuse me? I don't appreciate being called a specimen. Do you think I live in a zoo? How dare you? You'll be putting me in a jar next!
Dear me, no offence meant. Mrs. Wolfe, perhaps you are not familiar with the trial procedure. You are attacking your own defence witness. Members of the jury, here is a perfect example of how aggressive and quick to anger the wolf is, how dangerous and unpredictable they can be.
Mr. Case, please sit down. Perhaps we can continue with the evidence.
Right. The grey wolf is in danger because of man. He may be top of the food chain, but he has been driven out of his natural habitat into the wilderness, where he has to live in extreme conditions. In some regions of the world, he has been completely exterminated.
Not true. You see him here in the forest, not in the wilderness, and certainly not exterminated.
Ah, yes. That is only because he is one of a few of his kind left. He has only survived because he is resourceful, able to adapt to living in different, much harsher environments. He hunts prey large and small, whatever he can survive on.
Members of the jury, you heard it for yourselves. He hunts prey large and small, whatever he can survive on.
Yep, you'll have to eat.
As long as he doesn't have a taste of badger, I'm fine with that.
Silence! Silence in court. Perhaps we can continue with the evidence.
It's important to know that many populations of grey wolves are classified as vulnerable, and in some parts of the world, they are an endangered species.
I'd say dangerous, not endangered. Mrs. Wolfe has just shown us her true colours. I beg to differ. Your Honour, Mrs. Wolfe is only angry because she is stressed and persecuted. Wolves are very family-orientated creatures. In their packs they share tasks, care for their young, and even bring food to the very old wolves who are unable to walk. She is clearly very anxious about her family.
Yes, wolves are quite misunderstood. And to illustrate our point, I think we need to ask the wolf family themselves.
I think you should better leave this one to me. We need to be careful. A pack of hungry wolves understand. Call in the wolf family.
Naturalists have suggested you explain your feelings to the court.
Mountains, looming, hunger, ruling, lonely, freezing, hear our pleading.
A shadow on the moon, we howl an eerie tune. What's in a name that takes such blame? We're just misunderstood.
Lands deserted, feared and hated, evil painted, lives are wasted.
A shadow on the moon, we howl an eerie tune. What's in a name that takes such blame? We're just misunderstood.
A feeling
As you can see, the wolves have young cubs to support, and because all the other wolf packs have died out, they are now the only family left in our wilderness.
Mr. Wolf, using your own family for a sympathy vote, the emotional touch. But it doesn't, however, take away the fact that you are a predator and a killer. Your Honour, I would like to call my final witness.
Go ahead.
Mr. Mann, would you please take the witness stand?
What?
Calling Mr. Human, Mr. Human?
Yes, I heard you. I'm already here. Your Honour, I must protest. How can I be a witness in Mr. Wolf's defence? This is preposterous. Is there a precedent for this?
One moment. Yes, I think we have several precedents. Please inform the court, Squirrel.
Past court cases where the prosecutor has been brought to the witness stand. Number 1, Puss in Boots versus the Elves and the Shoemaker against the purchase of leather riding boots. Number 2, Princess Rapunzel versus the Tower Witch for wrongful imprisonment. And number 3, the case by the Billy Goat Scruff against the Foldy-Roll Troll for obstruction of highways and inflated toll charges.
There you are, Mr. Mann. We have the precedent. You may proceed, Mr. Wolf.
Mr. Mann, I don't need to remind you that you are under oath. Of course not. I'm a man of the law. Good, then perhaps you would tell the court what you had for breakfast this morning. Objection, Your Honour! What has this got to do with the trial?
Just answer the question, Mr. Mann.
I had a bowl of muesli, then a fry-up. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm only a wolf, an animal. Could you explain exactly what a fry-up is? Well, tomatoes, mushrooms, eggs, and... Say again? Bacon and sausages. Could you speak up? Bacon and sausages! Well, who are you calling a carnivore? Do the three little pigs know overeating habits? I'm not a carnivore, I'm an omnivore. Oh yes, and what does that mean? It means that I have a mixed diet. But you must admit that you eat meat. Mr. Mann, please answer the question. Yes. What else do you enjoy? Bit of rabbit, venison. Don't look so ashamed. I'm sure there are other members of this court who enjoy the occasional mouse. Or squirrel. I have no further questions.
Thank you, Mr. Wolf. If you and Mrs. Wolf would like to summarise the case for the defence.
Members of the jury, the point we are making is that all living creatures have to eat. The energy from the sun feeds us all by travelling through the food chains. We all have a right to that energy, either by eating vegetation or by eating meat. But why should wolves be prosecuted just because they eat meat?
Yes, many other animals, including humans, eat meat. But they are not feared and hated as wolves are. How is a wolf any different to a snail munching on a leaf or a ladybird eating a green fly? We are all part of a natural process.
Wolves have suffered for too long at the hands of man, because man is more threatened by wolves than any other predator. It is not wolves at the top of the food chain, it is man. Humankind needs to understand that we all have our parts to play in the wild, and of course, in the rhythm of life.
Surging through each forest, creature, nature's greatest.
fate of this wolf is in your hands. May we have the decision in the case against Mr. Wolf? The verdict is guilty. Yes! Mr. Wolf, you have been found guilty of being top of the food chain, guilty of being part of a natural order that has existed since life began, and are guilty of feeding yourself and your family. In short, you are living in its nature intended. Therefore, I believe there is no crime to answer for. You are hereby sentenced to spend the rest of your life with your family, roaming free in the forests and mountains.
Well, what a sensational trial.
Yes, it was difficult to know if the jury vote.
Do you mind if we like broadcasting?
Honestly, they're behaving like animals.
Time for that useful dramatic device, I think. And freeze. Fabletown has decided, and so the story ends. Maybe it was just a fairy tale, but perhaps there was some truth amongst the arguments, jokes, and songs. What do you think?
Huh? Well, I think the pump and water trough worked, but we should have had a stone wishing well and pink roses.
I think it's time we defrost the cast.
Rhythm of life, how can it be wrong? Feel the beat of the ecosystem, sing the wildest song. The wildest song. Rhythm, 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 the wildest song. Rhythm, 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 the wildest song. Rhythm, 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 the wildest song. Do a kingfisher dive? Meow. Be a hive. Try a bullfrog croak. Ribbit, stand still as an oak. Predator prowl. Rawr, rawr. Come on, do like it loud. Woo! Make a grass snake kiss. And a dandelion win. It's the rhythm of life. The energy flow. Surging through each forest creature, nature's greatest show. It's the rhythm of life. How can it be wrong? Hear the beat of the ecosystem, sing the wildest song. The wildest song. Rhythm, 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 the wildest song. Rhythm, 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 the wildest song. Rhythm, 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 the wildest song.
Hello.
Red and one of the moles. Well, what can we say? Absolutely amazing. You've done such a good job. I've heard little snippets while you've been practicing for a good few weeks now, but it's all come together and you all did such a wonderful job. I think we need to say some special thank yous to Carlito. Where is Carlito? Can you come and stand up? And also Liv, can you stand up as well? Because what you won't realise is that Carlito and Liv have both stepped into roles which weren't theirs this morning to cover absence. So can we give them a massive round of applause? Stage team stand up please, because you did a wonderful job behind the scenes. We didn't even notice you were there. Everything ran really smoothly, so well done to our backstage team. Can we give them another we need to say thank you to the teachers who are over in the corner. Sure everything has been brilliant, so well done to them, and also well done to your grown-ups, your parents at home who've been helping you with your outfits and things like that. So even though they're not here, we've got a couple in the corner. Let's give them a round of applause. To the couple of grown-ups in the corner who are Naomi and Andrew Thornton and Lizzie Powell, who have organised all of the recording set up for us. Without them, we would have never achieved this. So can we give them a huge round of applause? And special thanks also go to Gloria and Stefan Mortensen, who helped with the backdrop that you can see behind us. So thank you very much to them. Can we give them a round of applause? And finally, it is our job to say a great big thank you to you, because you've provided a lovely afternoon for all of the children in school. We've really enjoyed it. I've loved it, and I think you did such a fantastic job. So well done. So if you want to stand up and you can give yourself